Morning everyone, this is Mr. Greenwood, and I'm here with a little explanation video for the Transversal Town activity so you can get started on it. So you'll see you can use the software of your choice. I would recommend using either Word or PowerPoint. Whiteboard doesn't seem to work best. And your goal is to create a town map. And so the whole idea behind this is that you'll do like a top-down view like Google Maps. And you'll be placing different locations on the map, including adding some color, make sure things are labeled, make sure they're placed accurately. And then kind of add your own creativity or flavor to it. So let's talk about the minimum requirements here for the skeleton of your map. So you have to have at least 2 lines crossed by a transversal. If you draw 3 or more, you might find more like placing the items on your map. Make sure you give your transversal names as well as your crossing lines. We'll call your transversal boulevard. So I said like Greenwood Boulevard would be my transversal, and Geometry Avenue would be one of my avenues. So I think in class I talked about Geometry Avenue, Algebra Avenue, Statistics Avenue. I just kind of made up some math names. But again, the theme is up to you. And then go ahead and place your house at the intersection of one of the transversal and one of the avenues. You get to decide where. And so this is the framework, this top half. So now you'll see once you get the framework, your goal is to be able to place all of these items listed in bold. And you'll see some listed more than once for different angle pairs. So a gas station creates a linear pair with your house. So remember, linear pair is 2 angles that are next to each other at the same intersection. A local example would be like Northtown Mall and the Red Lobster. Those are a linear pair of angles because they're on the same side of Wellesley and they have Division Street in between them. Another example that might be vertical angles would be Northtown Mall, and I think it's an Exxon gas station that's kind of kitty corner or diagonal from. Those are a pair of vertical angles, and that would be like the restaurant and the grocery store. So there's a list of a whole bunch of angles, angle pairs here that you'll need to incorporate into your activity. Okay, so there's your minimum requirements as far as the places you need to add onto your map. And then there are 8 total locations. You can do some extra credit ones if you would like. Including a hospital, another restaurant, a hardware store, a big box store. And if you have any other ideas, that's also cool too. You can add a second boulevard. Okay, so here's the scoring rubric. So as far as angle relationships piece, that's one of your items. So make sure all locations are placed on the map correctly, and you've got some color and stuff added here. That's the other part. All locations have color, given appropriate names. And then if you give at least 3 additional locations and they're labeled or colored, that can get you an extra couple of points, and then an extra point if you get at least 1 additional. Let me go ahead and open up real quick another sample document here that I came up with in Word. And so here is my example. Zoom that out so you can kind of see. So here are some of my avenues. I did Geometry Avenue, Algebra Avenue, Probability Avenue. And I've got different locations. I did this by inserting text boxes. So if you go to Insert menu, you'll see a text box covered up my face there. And just choose a simple text box, and you can place all of these things. Okay. The nice thing about placing text boxes is you can kind of change the color on them. And this is my creativity, but you can move around. So if you decide that this is where the gas station needs to be, so it's a linear pair, great. But if you need to move it and make it a linear pair here, that also works. So you've got that flexibility to do that, okay? So the modeling of your mathematics here is knowing your angle pairs. So if you look in the team's files for your class, you will see some notes on those angle pairs about how to identify them. Another kind of hint that seems to help is that as we think about interior and exterior, it'll be interior to 2 streets. So if I've got Greenwood's house and my restaurant, those are same side interior angles because they're in between Probability Avenue and Geometry Avenue, and both on the west side or left side of Greenwood Boulevard. Another one that's a little confusing, fire station and gas station. I have those placed at alternate exterior angles because they're on opposite sides of Greenwood Boulevard, but they're outside Probability Avenue and Geometry Avenue, okay? I didn't have to use Algebra Avenue for that one at all. All right, so really if we're thinking interior versus exterior, you're going to pick 2 avenues, and it's either in between the 2 avenues you're talking about or outside the 2 avenues, okay? So that's a solid hint there. If you think about the fire station and the grocery store, those are same side exterior, because they're both on the right side or east side of Greenwood Boulevard. So they're both over here. And they're outside Algebra Avenue and Probability Avenue, right? So outside this one, completely ignoring Geometry Avenue, all right? If I want to make those same side interior, I could just slide the fire station here and the grocery store here. So they're both the same side of Greenwood Boulevard still, but they're inside Algebra Avenue and Probability Avenue. Again, ignoring Geometry Avenue. And if I move that down here, still same side interior, but instead of Probability Avenue and Algebra Avenue, they're in between Algebra Avenue and Geometry Avenue, okay? All right, so I'm going to go back to where I started. So your whole goal here is to place all these items, use some color, give them creative names. I didn't, just so you can see what was what. But again, email me if you have any questions, and good luck. Have an awesome day. We'll see you in the next video.